Rosalia, and welcome to another commentary on the book Keys to the Ultimate Freedom by Lester Levenson. Today, we're going to be looking at session 2. Okay, and I'm going to start off with a quote here. If we don't like what's happening to us in the world, all we have to do is change our consciousness, and the world out there changes for us. Lester Levenson. It says here, for session 2, problems and how they resolve. The illusion. We seem to have greater, more intense problems than ever before. This applies to all in general, not anyone in particular, and this intensification of problems makes it appear as though we are going backwards, but this isn't the case. The fact is that we have risen to the state where we can better express ourselves outwardly. So we express our problems out in the world rather than holding them dormant in the subconscious mind. As a result, things may appear to be getting worse. There's another portion here in stages of growth. Now the step above a pathetic doingness is one of doingness in which we are equally constructive and destructive. Move up another step and we move into the doingness beingness state, where we are big doers and only constructive. When we step up from there, we go into the beingness state. We do not have to do, we just be. I'm going to mention the 5 stages of growth that Lester mentions out here in this session 2. Stage 1, apathy. Inaction due to apathy with resentments and hostilities and fear to express for fear of retaliation, a subjectively destructive state, which is inaction. Stage 2, a pathetic doingness, beingness of action, having enough will to express outwardly, a beingness of an outwardly active but destructive state. Stage 3, doingness, action that moves us out of stage 1 towards the equilibrium of stage 5. Here one is equally constructive and destructive to oneself and to the world, and it falls under action. Stage 4, doingness, beingness, energetic doingness with calmness, much outward action, all constructive to oneself, the world, and the universe. And stage 5, beingness, an action due to serenity, the ability to just be, witnessing, watching, allowing and accepting the world and the universe as it is. However, at any time, whenever anyone chooses, he may move into the highest stage. We do not have to stay at the level that the world is in. And those of us who are on the path are moving up out of this general level. This makes us very fortunate. We know the way out, no matter how much the world hurts us. We know there's a way out. We have hope and a direction. The way out. And what is the way out? Not looking to the world for happiness, but looking to the place where happiness is right within us. Within our own consciousness, unlimited by joy, freedom, is our natural inherent state. We have, through ignorance, undone it by imposing concepts of limitation. I need this, I need him, I need her. And if I don't get what I want, I am hurt, I have trouble. If you don't let go of it, it is because the thought that initiated the difficulty remains subconscious. So we must make the thought conscious and let go of it. And it is this, the higher and the better way. We must remember that we are the self with a capital S, knowing that we are the perfect self, that we are not this limited body and mind. All problems immediately resolve. So I highlighted quite or underlined and things like that, quite a couple things on here. I won't read all of them. I'm going to try to read very simple things, although they are not going to make a lot of sense because I won't be reading the entire paragraph, but I will make a commentary at the end of this, okay? What is hard is letting go of the habits. However, the moment we choose to let them go, we can. She has got to let go and let God. For conviction, which is stronger than faith, absolute conviction of God, that will do it. Let go and let God, and then everything straightens out. To accomplish this, we have to let go, let the ego sense go. The ego is the feeling I am an individual and I have a body and I do things. That is the illusion. You have to let go, get the ego out of the way and let God or self operate. When this is achieved, you'll sort of float through things and there will be no effort. If there is effort, there is ego. If you take that attitude, so be it. It is the feeling that I am not the doer and that I let go and let it happen. How can we tell when we're being the ego? When there's no effort, there's no ego. The more the effort, the more the ego. Now there will be times when you will use no effort and everything will fall perfectly into line for you. At these times, you will be yourself with a capital S. The actionless state. To achieve the actionless state, you begin by letting go of your ego more and more. You do this because under present conditions, you cannot do it totally. If you could, you would be fully realized. But you keep letting go of the ego, you will eventually drop it, and then you will be the witness rather than the doer. Be not the doer, let it happen. It's God's world, whatever is happening, let him do it. You see life can be effortless. And I say all she has to do is to let go and let God. You do not sit down and wait. You do not do nothing. Just let go of the sense of doership. And it says here, most people in the world today need to pray, but prayer admits duality. God is out there. And we should know that God is within. The kingdom of God is within. He's only within. The I of us with nothing added to it is the God we seek. When you say I am something, that isn't it, that isn't God, but just pure I, only I, that is God. That is why it is said that God is closer than the flesh. It is I, and how close it is I. It's closer than the flesh. It is God, your very own self, with a capital S. Okay? I think the word that describes God better than any other single word is beingness. God is all beingness. Beingness is God. Beingness is also awareness, consciousness. They are all the same thing. God is perfect. That is all there is. And look at perfection. That is all you will ever meet with. The right way is letting go and letting God, and then everything falls into line perfectly. And when you are by yourself, stop being what you are not, a limited body and mind. Just be what you are, an infinite, totally free, grand and glorious being, whole and complete. The only growth there is the elimination of the ego. And that concludes session 2. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let me have some water because I feel like I've read quite a bit. And session 2, it's really interesting how it goes into different stages. I myself have encountered going through all these stages. And just very recently have I dabbled at times into this beingness, non-doing, almost like floating with the Tao, with life, with God, trusting in God's divine plan, and really seeing how the puzzle pieces, by just being, how they fall together perfectly without much effort. And I have been through all the stages that were mentioned. And at some point, especially around 2018, where I went through a lot of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, divorce, suicide ideations, and just health issues, just a bunch of stuff. And I really felt like the weight of of life was on my shoulders. It was hard to get up in the morning, hard to want to be alive, and I just couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like a lot of effort on my part to try to like even stay alive or do very simple tasks. And it's so interesting how life has shifted and how the perception has shifted, how I feel that every day is an invitation to look at the perfection in every moment, right? So even though my ego, my personality, and you know, this human part of me, there may be days that to me are perceived worse than others, even though I do try to look at life as happening for me, even the bad things happening for my higher good. It's quite interesting. It has been a journey, still in development, still training my eye to see with the right perception, to be and trust more in this state of beingness, to kind of permeate the veil, become one with the fabric of the universe, right? To flow with the Tao, flow with life, kind of float with the river of life, rather than feel like I'm swimming upstream and trying to make things happen on my own, right? And there's a line there between going from victim and victimhood and taking responsibility for your thoughts, your actions, you know, being in coherence and taking aligned action and all these things. And this is this thin line where believing that you are God can be a little, you know, it could bring you back if it's not processed and integrated correctly to this, again, state of you having to make things happen on your own. And that, to be honest, not seeking God's help or the light of God or the wholeness, the mental sanity, the self-realization of God and this oneness with God, if you seek it from an ego perspective, it could feel very much like you're alone in the world, even though you're thinking you're God, right? So there's a fine line there, that should be threaded cautiously as you're walking the path, as you're becoming the path, as you witness the path, as you transcend even witnessing the path into non-local awareness, into just your multidimensional self, your energetic structures, and just different things that begin to be in your awareness, right? That maybe they weren't there before, even though they're always there. Sometimes they're not in our conscious awareness, right? So I really love the way Lester teaches. I find it very simple. I am a huge proponent of God is simple. Even though sometimes I may not understand God's plan from this tiny little perspective, it's like if you have a child, right? And you're trying to teach the child something, and you already have a bigger view, bigger perspective of what you're trying to achieve, where it's going, how it's going to end, all these things, right? But you still want to give your child freedom to run, to fall, to try new things, to try it their way, right? And even that you enjoy, right? You enjoy their milestone, their growth, right? So it's very similar with us, I feel. At least looking at myself, not even from a consciousness aspect, but looking at myself a couple of years back, even a decade back, and seeing where I am today and being like, okay, I could see why the puzzle pieces had to be that way. And I have a different perspective and a different understanding of that today that I didn't have then, right? So that's going to be the commentary for today. It won't be much longer, as if it was quite long of a session. Let me know if you enjoyed, if you're enjoying these commentaries that I'm doing. If they're, they're here to be of service on your path. They're not here to tell you which path to pick, what to believe. They're here just as another tool in your toolbox, as another perspective, as another way of looking at life, perceiving God, perceiving yourself. The idea is that it provides value, inspiration, that it serves in a positive way on your journey. Always remember to follow your joy, your heart, your inspiration, your excitement. That's very important, because that's God leading the way. Okay. Remember that we have a free community, Supraconscious University. Feel free to join. There's a bunch of free tools on there, and there's also paid tiers at a very, very low cost for you guys. And if you feel that's something that could help you at this stage in your journey, that's why it's there. Okay, feel free to take advantage, and stay tuned for my next book. It's called The Infinite I, Becoming Aware of Itself. Again, it's just another way to serve on the path to self-realization. And I hope everything that I share on here serves you all well. Let me know in the comments, how is your path to self-realization coming along? What are your ahas? What have you explored? If there's anything you want to share, whether it's a poem, artwork, anything that helps us all, just with a little bit more love, a little bit more grace in this path. I'm sure all of us will be very, very grateful to read it, to come across it. So thank you, and I will see you on the next section.